before I request General B.K. Sharma, the Director of the USI of India, to give the concluding remarks for today's seminar, may I request Manu Khajuria, who's watching us from UK, and she runs a organization called Voice of DOGRAS in a very, very active manner. So Manu, can you please tell us what is your view of the whole thing that we discussed today, and how do you perceive? And we know there are a lot of DOGRAS in London and in and around London, and you have a lot of, if I may say, kinetic friction between all of you on various views. So how would you like to sort of enlighten the panels as to how you look out at the things from a distance?
Thank you so much for inviting me for this wonderful webinar. I did miss a lot of the esteemed speakers speak initially. I joined a little late, and I apologize for that, and I'll catch up on your live streaming that has happened on Facebook. But from whatever I've heard, I mean, and you're right that there are a lot of DOGRAS here, and interestingly, there are more DOGRAS from the Mirpur Muzaffarabad belt than DOGRAS from from our side of the LOC.
One of those DOGRAS are coming in the next programs. Dr. Amjad Dayub Mirza was to come along with Shakur Khan and others. Unfortunately, they couldn't join because they had another engagement. So next week the program we'll call them over. They'll be here.
Yes, I just mentioned them because it makes the interaction even more interesting here in London, because you meet these Mirpuri Dogras and who are extremely proud of their Dogra ancestry and their martial traditions. So it just adds to our learning process, and that engagement is wonderful. But having said that, and as you rightly pointed out, that we started in a platform or an organization, or I would say it's just a way to engage with a lot of Jammu youth, because we hear a lot about the Kashmiri youth, but we are not speaking so much of the Jammu youth. If we draw parallels, it almost becomes like जो बदमाश बच्चा है या जो थोड़ा परेशान है बच्चा, उसको ज्यादा ध्यान देते हैं, and then we don't pay attention to the Jammu youth, and which because of our engagement, and our engagement has been more on an intellectual level than just cultural, we have realized that there is a growing angst and frustration. I mean, I felt that as somebody from Jammu, so I'm seeing it more and more amongst the youth now. And I'm not going to take much time, but I would like to refer to an article which came out today in the Daily Excelsior by Lieutenant General Bhupinder Singh. And I quote, because this sort of sums up what the Jammu youth is feeling, and I feel that if we don't pay attention to them, thinking that there is only one region that needs to be paid attention to, then it's a problem, because it's the Jammu youth also who's finding that they are not being represented in all these various sectors that have been mentioned, not just the government agencies or advisory councils or the LG office or the TV studios, you name it, and there is an absence of a voice from the Jammu region or a Dogra voice. So I just quote him here in his article. He says that one wonders at the incredulity and inexplicability as to why Jammu or Dogras, who have always punched above their weight for the nation, still remain essentially unacknowledged, unsung, and unrecognized for their stellar performance and achievements. So I think this sums up what the Jammu youth is feeling, and if we do not pay attention to this region, we will have a problem in hand. That is where the most voices are emerging for a separate state. Because of course, I agree with General B.K. Sharma ji that there has to be some time given. So much has to be undone. So it will need time. But there is this growing sense of urgency that we will not be getting our due recognition, our due place and due attention till we are joined with Kashmir, because that will always be favored over this region, which is less problematic, more nationalistic. So it's taken for granted. So these are my thoughts on this, and I just shared it with an esteemed panel so that this becomes a part of that process of thinking that is happening for Jammu and Kashmir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Manu. You really touched the nerve at the right place.
Please like and subscribe.